So since last night didn't go as intended during rush hour, not getting ammo breaks, sorry. And he's now about to die. Can you not? Can you not? Can you not? Yeah, I think we finished like rank 5000 or something, but still ended up being fighter 3 because there weren't that many people playing rush hour, which feels very nice.
Very nice, how much?
Because that tells me that my account is already like almost C2 if you think about it. But then at the same time, it's also incredibly frustrating because we still don't have that gold star in our book. But what better way to cheer us up than to do a little bit of summoning? And as you guys can see over here, I've been teasing it in my last video already. We get the Wind Sylphid unlocked in the special summon rotation, which we're definitely going to go for right now. And I do also have a few more scrolls waiting to be popped. Let me just quickly take a look at... Yeah, I think these ones, I mean, I can basically skill up my Robo that way and also like a Galleon. That's kind of nice, but we're still gonna just pop all of these and see if we can get the Wind Sylphid while we're at it. Now, we get Lightning already. What's it gonna be? I'm gonna not skip any of the Lightnings. Oh, nice, we get a Gravedigger. Tomb Warden, that's what they're called, sorry. We get the fire one. I already made a video on the water one being very good. I don't have enough skill ups, but I was fortunate enough to pull him on this account as well. But I haven't really built him just yet. So that's going to be one for the books, I guess. Now, are we getting the Sylphid over here? Nope, but we get some Khmun skill ups, which are definitely also needed. And I'm just going to pop the LD scroll because, yeah, it's my beginner account. We get a Dark Inferno. I'm still kind of waiting on a Miho, which, yeah, that's kind of... you know. Okay, we get one Lightning already. That's beautiful. Now oh, there we go with the Sylphid. Now, I'm not quite sure if I want to keep going because there's definitely like some more coming up. And in this one, I do like the Nora. Should we keep going? Because this is like one of the worst net 5s to get in the game. It's not just time for special summons. It also means that because it's Monday, we also got Siege coming up. And what better time than to look into that subject one more time. So technically I already made one video on the subject before, and it was pretty much how to attack PvP for early game accounts. I feel like I'm just on the verge of mid game with this one, so I feel like might as well just do an updated version of it. I think the biggest change from the last video to this one is definitely just the way my defenses are set up. I had kind of very rudimentary ones beforehand, and even though I'm still not able to pull off like the perfect combos over and over again, simply because like even some of those units I still use in my farming team comps, having a violent fight combo in your defense isn't working out as well. Like I'm thinking about my Seren right now being used in Necro, and obviously that build isn't really gonna do much in Siege. Getting like good defenses and the contribution that goes with that is definitely a huge portion of Siege. And I figured before I actually get into any fights, might as well actually do a full tier list for you guys so you have a rough understanding of what net 4s to build for Siege specifically. Now mind you, a big factor for mid game isn't just how good the monster is, but also how easy is it to skill up. So let's say you have 3-star counterparts, that monster is gonna go into the A tier like very simply just by that. Or also like, can you fuse skill ups? Can you buy skill ups in like the guild shop? There's like a lot of components to that as well. So there's not that many monsters where that actually is the case, but I think that already puts you up a notch or two just from that alone, because for beginners and for like mid-game players, having net 4 skilled up is quite the luxury. And then the last point I want to make is how likely are you able to have that monster actually ruined the way you want it to be for PvP only. I'm talking about Verdehile, for instance, which I'm definitely going to put into like the B tier or maybe even C tier. I think like worst case for him would be if you're running him in R5, like solo R5, and you have only one Verd that's like on 84% crit or something like that, and it's on like a double fight will build. Obviously he's going to be pretty much useless for PvP at that point, and he's going to go into the C tier. Alright, so we already put Verd into the C tier. I think if you do have him ruined and if you have a second one, I think you can make a point to having like an unskilled Verdehile if you have a second guy anyways, and just putting him on Triple Revenge and using him with a Leo and a Veramas for like arena offense, and especially for Siege, it's also still very usable. There's like a bunch of Savannah defenses, especially in like the lower ranks where people don't have like a lot of kill pressure in turn 1. That's when Verd usually starts popping off and does have a place kind of like in the A tier, I'd say. Let's hope that we get our strip on that Ethna. That's beautiful. Now the question is, yeah, she doesn't... That hit pretty hard, honestly, and she stripped everything, so this is going to take a little bit longer from now on. I just hope that we don't fall over and die too soon. Maybe we get a revenge. Oh, that revenge is massive over here, because we do get to top ourselves off now with that Fran. Nice. So the main issue here was just my Verd wasn't actually fully speed tuned. Oh, homeboy is just proccing every single revenge that's possible. We just love to see that. Oh, okay. No, don't you dare. Don't you dare. I'm gonna heal myself up a little bit. I'm gonna take that immunity. I'm gonna heal myself. And while we're at it, heal myself some more. Yeah, we just have to stabilize at this point. As you guys can see, this team is very good against team comps that don't have a lot of burst. Even against that Ethna. I mean, the issue was my Verd was like not speed tuned because it's revenge. It's not too fast. You kind of want it to be like slower than everything you're running. I think Chloe is going to be the next one. I'm just going to give her A tier. It's not an amazing unit, but especially if you pair up with like slow damage dealing units and your opponent doesn't have a lot of strips, like put her on a shield set. You got like 3 buffs just from using her alone. If your opponent doesn't have like a full team comp around like strips, you're going to have a very good time, and she's extremely easy to build. So there's really no downside to just using her. In the defense, she's also really good for siege defense. And it's kind of the same thing for like offense. You can actually run her. So it's either S tier or A tier. I'm going to keep her in the A tier for now because it's not that easy to skill her up. But technically you can buy them in the shop. So maybe we're going to put her in the S tier because like pulling her was kind of a pain for myself. But in general, you're going to have her fully built without putting in Devilmon like way earlier compared to some other ones. Then I think Susano is kind of over here. Maybe Garo is a little bit lower than that. I think just with everyone and their mom having multi-hit, stuns, and just in general just kind of hitting through him regardless, it's pretty much just a walking leader skill. And vampire runes are also hard to come by, but you don't need that many vampire runes in general on your account. So I think it's justifiable to like at least keep him on the list. But I wouldn't really give him many skill ups. But to be honest, like all of the ninjas are kind of lackluster. So if I had to choose, I'd probably give Susano the primary goal and then like maybe go for Garo afterwards. Orion, definitely A tier. Still an amazing defense unit, but also really good in offense. So like with the buffs, it's really good. I think Aegir, his name is, kind of in the B tier. I don't really think all of the Barbaric Kings are too good. I think you can make an argument for the Wind one for like offense. Truth is, I don't think it's like that great. You have a bunch of other attack buffers and he's really only good with like Gemini Cleaves. So Aegir is kind of the only one you can build. And all of the attack bar cycling, like you can run him on a tank set with Destroy and like, you don't need him on Violent, that's the thing. He cycles a lot and you can just give him like a somewhat okay Swift set and you're gonna have a very good time with it. Galleon, A tier for sure, maybe even S tier. I think maybe, yeah, let's give him S tier. Because at the end of the day, it's the same with Clara. You're going to be able to use him not just in Siege, but also in like regular arena offenses, maybe even in arena defense. You're going to be able to build him in a Siege defense. It's a very amazing unit just for that alone, so definitely build it. It's just a shame that my Galleon isn't quite fully skilled, but we get to steal a decent amount of attack bar. I think that Zeratul is still going to be a massive issue, let's be honest. Can we get that punch? Oh, but that's a very squishy Orion, so I think this should be enough to like at least kill 2 out of those 3. And then we're gonna just carry through anyways. That's just beautiful. Alright, Galleon. Getting his ass handed to him, let's be honest. Okay, and we got one more turn, and my Robo already kills right there anyways. That's beautiful. Not too easy to skill up, but you can make a point that even Devilmoning would be almost worth it. Now for those 2 mermaids, I think we're gonna have to put them into the D tier, believe it or not, because the main reason for that is the water one is just so much better. I think the water one deserves maybe A tier. The main reason why I'm not giving her S tier is because we all have a Veramos, and Veramos almost does the same thing as she does. They're really like similar in that regard. She doesn't really need skill ups, so I think otherwise she would maybe even be B tier, because again, like we all have a Veramos build. But because of the fact that you don't need skill ups, I think A tier is where she's at. And the other 2 mermaids, they're interesting and they're pretty good. Like, don't get me wrong, I think they're both actually like, I think she's like up here and maybe she's like here, if you actually are like a end game tier list. But for us in like mid game, this is kind of the requirements that we're going for. Alright, Chilling, same thing. Windy, same thing. I think Windy is like up here. Chilling would be maybe like here. Chilling doesn't need skill ups. Windy somewhat does. Okay, so we get a mist strip onto that Triana. And that hit pretty hard, but if you think about it, that's all of his burst now gone. Should I try? Let's go for it. Yeah, oh, we landed. Beautiful. So now there's literally nothing else he has left. The Triana didn't strip early enough. And I'm just gonna keep hitting that Galleon. I think this should be an almost dead Galleon, not quite. Yeah, it's a shame that my Camilla is tanking a little bit too much for my taste right now. I'm just gonna try and kill that Galleon because, yeah, we're kind of missing... Oh, this is not gonna do anything, is it? Beautiful. We get another shield coming up. That's gonna be a dead Triana. 2v3. Just beautiful. Yeah, so my Camilla was tanking a little bit too long, so my Jultan didn't do as much as I wanted it. The thing is, you can buy skill ups for them, and they're both passive based, so they still do what they're kind of supposed to do, even without skill ups. So that's kind of nice. Alright, then we got Mihyang and we got Chasun. Now on my own account, I'm going to be building Chasun first. So I guess she's going to be in like the B tier. But overall, I think Mihyang is like right here, maybe even here. So it kind of depends on like how you use them. I think I'm going to put both of them into the B tier. But technically Mihyang with that speed lead and like the snipe potential, the later I'm going to be in mid game, the better she's going to be. And the worse Chasun is going to be, let's be honest. So we're going to both put them in B tier. Carcano, easy S tier. It's very good for offense, very good for defense in Siege. Not so much for Arena, but I'd say all in all, you don't really want to build any other snipers. I think you can make a point in even building 2 of him first before building any of the other ones, even though the other 2 aren't too bad either. Archangel, because I hope this is going to kill. We'll see. Yep. And that's just the power of the sniper. That's a stupid unit, dude. Honestly. Why is it so good? We got Miriam, I think her name is, or whatever. It's like the String Master, the Wind one. It's an amazing unit to pair up, especially also with that Windy. She's also really good for AD. So I think all in all, definitely A tier, maybe even S tier. Just for those safe offenses combined with the Tractor, for instance. Very, very good. Praline, I think his name is. I'm not quite sure where to put him. Basically, he's a very, very strong unit. Just his attack bar push isn't too insane, but I think for net 4 towers, it's like A tier, maybe even S tier. I'm gonna keep him in the A tier for now, but maybe you guys have like different opinions. Now, Kaki and Suiki are kind of in this weird spot. Suiki is S tier for longer fights. Kaki is S tier for like cleaving, I guess. I think they both kind of belong like somewhere in the middle. I'm not quite sure who you want to build first. For myself, I'm going to build Kaki first, so that means I'm not going to be running Suiki. Then next thing next, I don't know what he's called, he's pretty good. Very nice defense unit. I think all 3 of them are good in offense. This guy is way better in defense though, so I think I'm going to put him into the A tier as well. Then we got Skogul. Now Skogul overall is like C tier, but same logic as with Chloe. It's very easy to skill up, and it's pretty good in defense actually still, especially in the lower ranks. It's somewhat usable in offense still. So it's either going to be A tier like Chloe or maybe even S tier. Again, hear me out. Like, this is not a good unit. It's very like, it's like a 7 out of 10. Super easy to invest in. I don't have him on my own account, unfortunately, but it's a very, very good unit. So I'm gonna, it's like between S tier and A tier. So I'm gonna keep him in A tier to not offend anyone, because I know someone's gonna go over this tier list and it's gonna complain, but it's a very, very good unit. Khmun, I'd say still S tier. I don't care. Like, maybe I'm overestimating him. I love him in arena offense. I love him in siege offense. It's still somewhat good in like mid game for defense. It's a brain dead good unit. And yeah, this is gonna be a pain to deal with this fight, but I'm pretty confident. Just hope that the Molong doesn't like completely one-shot me, because then we should be alright. As long as the Byonch... Oh. Okay, we have a S2 coming up. It's just him proccing a little too much for my taste, to be honest, but it is what it is. Nice ammo break. Let's go with a heal break. It's another S and another S2. Okay. Yeah, so now we do have to do a little bit of damage and like actually get a bunch of procs back, because Homeboy got like every single proc in the game. Yep, that's 2 turns that Byonchul took and 2 turns that he got. That should be a dead Molong. Beautiful. Now we just need to like wait a little bit and then we should be alright, because he has one more S2, yep. Don't crit me too hard. Go for the speed buff. I just need to get one more shield up from that Khmun. And then we should have everything recovered. Heal up into armor break, into heal break, and that's a dead Byonchul. Iunu, kind of a weird one. Now he has like multiple different ways of building him. I think it's overall like maybe in the B or A tier. But since we are building a Khmun first, maybe into the D tier. Same as with like Verd and like the Garo. You have different units you want to build first. Okay, so this is going to be very interesting to see. I hope he doesn't go for my colors, yeah. Nice. As long as he doesn't go for my colors, I'm good. I'm gonna try and kill that Zen. Verdehile. Procs out of that. Nope. We got lucky right here. We're gonna hit that Zeratul one more time. And now it's actually kind of fun, because like if he kills me, just gonna get more and more attack bar. Dance of Mirage, that's a pain. Nah, I'm gonna go for the burst here. Okay, goes for the Riley one more time. As long as he doesn't proc here, we're good. And even then, like, nah. That just gives my Carlos more attack bar. We got a S2 coming up. I don't think Mihyang has what it takes. My Carlos is pretty tanky. And my Iunu obviously has his S3, so... Let's see. Yeah, that's not killing anyone. But now she has her sustain up again. But that's a dead Mihyang. GG. Lushen, I'd say A tier. It's very hard to actually use him if you're like a mid-game player and you don't have like amazing runes. Next up is the Hammersmith. She doesn't need skill ups, which is nice. She's just a walking passive that increases the effectivity of the attack buff in your team comp. So I've been using it with Lushen for a while. And this is going to be what's going to help me just swipe through my wings within the first like few weeks. You can just put it on triple fight. It's basically like 3v4ing, but your attack buff is better, which makes your Lushen better. So I think we're going to put her maybe into the... Like, it's so easy to just have her ruined, you know? So that's what I said. Like, it's technically like maybe a C tier unit, but since it's very easy to be built and you don't really need to invest a lot of stuff in it, I'm going to just put it into the A tier, because whatever. Actually, now that I think about it, let's use Khmun in the A tier, because it's not as good as these three. So last but not least, we got Sian. Mostly just an offense unit. Again, like Lushen does take up the skill ups. So I'd say normally it's like a B tier unit, but because you have like a different unit that you want to build, I think Sian is going to be in the D tier. Yeah, I don't really have any other net force that are really, really amazing. So we're just going to go for Triana. I think she's like C tier, B tier. I think Harmonia is just as good as she is, honestly. Just she kind of takes the cake when it comes to being a defense unit. I think Julie kind of also belongs there. She's the best out of the three main elements, so that gives her like a bump. I think for 3v3 she's not there. She's just not that great, so maybe C tier. Stella, it's okay with certain team comps, especially with like Susano, like a mono element team comp where you just draft it into like a Khmun. Orion, for instance, you outspeed it and you just one-shot one of them. Very good in that regard. Very hard to ruin, but she's speed scaling. So if you do have like a few swift sets spare, maybe in like C tier. So I'd say this is kind of my tier list for net 4s. I'm also still going to do one for 2A's while we're at it, just to give you guys more reference points. Now, one thing I want to mention when it comes to the 2A tier list, just like the net 4s, there's like a little bit of like how easy are they to obtain, and also how likely are you going to be able to have them on the right build for like PvP and especially Siege. I'm thinking about Seren, I'm thinking about Raok, I'm thinking about like maybe the Kali, depending on where you use her. There's a few units that like technically I think Seren is up here. I think Raok is like here, and maybe Kali is also like here, but because I use my Seren in Necro, that's like D tier, C tier. Because I use my Raok in like 5 other dungeons, that's like D tier. Because my Kali is actually like, I have a second Kali that is just a walking leader skill for R5, and besides that, she's kind of usable. I think she's somewhere in the B tier or in the C tier, so just keep that in mind. I wanted to like start off with those 3 first, just to get that out of the way, and let's get into the other ones. Now, Colleen kind of is similar to that. I think maybe for Labyrinth, you kind of have her on like a tanky Violent build, which is somewhat the build that you want to have for Siege anyways as well. We're going to try it. He gets everything. Is he going to get... Oh, beautiful Revenge. Do we get to sustain? Yup. So that's already like quite good. I'm going to try, as long as we dismount the Narsha, and we drop the armor break that way. That's beautiful. Oh, she dismounted herself. I don't think we need anything right now, because I don't think the heal break is going to do anything. It's just going to make him like use his S3, and then we're going to fall asleep that way. So I'm actually better off just Revenge. I'm going to go for... Who do we go for? I think she's going to use her AoE anyways, like the sleep. So I'm just going to hit that Champan. We're going to hope that we move before. I think that should... Come on. We have heal break on her. How should we deal with this? Because this is not going to kill. I think we're just going to attack break this, right? Let's have a go. Let's have a look. Oh, we missed that. So now she has her S3. It's going to be that Jultan. And this is not a good trade. Like trading the Champan for... Oh, nice. We get to get rid of the armor break. That's beautiful. Can we get another revenge? Come on. Is this gonna kill? I don't think it will. Oh, it does. Beautiful. Okay, this does more damage, I think. Beautiful proc. One more revenge. Oh, 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 oh. Oh. I have to S1 here. Heal up. Beautiful. Mostly just for offense though, obviously. So I think we're gonna keep her in the B tier, because I think you can justify giving her like a somewhat fast violence set with weird offset, and you'll be alright. You're gonna still have a decent time in siege. Now when it comes to Sia, I think she's S tier, believe it or not. It depends on like how you want to rune her. But if you have like 1 or 2 decent artifact combos, I think she's like super underrated, and she just shreds through bruisers, which if you know anything about low level siege, like basically when you draft her, you're weak in like turn 1. And most like low level siege like defenses and stuff, they don't have that much kill pressure turn 1. And once that is the case, like Sia is really gonna pop off. It's definitely recommendable building her. She's not very good with team-ups. She scales extremely well with buffs, and she scales with additional damage. So you gotta have like a few good artifacts, and then you can just put her on like a decent Swift set, maybe Swift Destroy, maybe Swift Will, and you're gonna have a very good time with her. We're gonna slow down her, and we're gonna hope that we get the stun. Beautiful. And while we're at it, we're just gonna keep hitting that Molly. Okay. Okay, I think this is already worth like going for the AoE over here, because I think, yep, already killed the Molly. That's just beautiful. That's just gorgeous. And we have to attack break him right now, because, yeah, I think that dark guy is still gonna hit very hard. Nice AoE over here. Have to go for this. And that's gonna be a dead Kinky. I just hope that we get to cleanse before. Yep, let's go for it. I think for now we're going to stick her in the A tier, because again, having the good artifacts might be an issue. I think Icaru or like Icaru, kind of similar to like Raok and Seren, maybe we're going to put him. I really see like a good offense, and especially not really a good defense with him, so keep that in mind. Galleon goes up a little bit higher. I'd say I put it into the B tier, just like Colleen, because you do end up having like a decent set for him most of the time that is very similar to what you normally run in like PvE just as much. So you're good with that. Then we got Kahn, I think A tier, just like Seren. Very, very good to like shred through bruisers. I think Burnout is like D tier, to be honest. Unless you're going for like a Lushen team with an attack buffer and Burnout and just use him as leader skill, then maybe he's C tier. But I think in general it's like D tier. Ramagos, Ramagod, very, very good unit. People don't have Destroy runes at such a low level. Usually, if they do, he's like C tier. If they don't, it's like A tier. So I'm going to put him into the A tier. Again, this tier list looks very, very weird. We got the light Kali. I think it's also in the C tier. Very situational, but it's kind of a nice like off healer. Used to be better when there wasn't that many. Nowadays, everyone has like some sort of sustain on their abilities. So I don't think it's that great. Elucia, I'd say S tier, maybe A tier. I haven't really had like a unit where I was like, oh, that's S tier, right? I think she gets close there. She doesn't need accuracy. She's very easy to rune. But she does need violent runes, which might be an issue, and she's also worthless in defense. I think Jultan A tier, very easy to rune. It's not good for defense, but it's very, very good for offense. I think Eshir and Vigor are S tier. Now I know that there's issues with their AI when it comes to putting them in defense. Like they kind of, I don't know, it depends. But overall, I'd say you can like have them on like one of your best violent or swift sets, and they're going to be amazing for defense, and they're going to be obviously also amazing for offense. So I'm not quite sure if we can actually beat this one. We're just going to give it a try. I'm going to not do anything over here, actually. I'm going to heal up over here. I think our main target is going to be that Fire Monkey King. He's going to be stacked up in no time. And as long as they focus my Raccoony, like there's no way I'm going to die. I don't think so. So we should be alright. Just cleansing ourselves. We got Destroy. Actually, I don't have Destroy on Vigor just yet. So that's the main reason why I'm actually farming for Necro right now. I gotta get all of my bruisers on Destroy, because like that's what Siege is all about. You gotta just take it slow and outcycle people, and then just take our Destroy effects and run it down mid, basically. Alright. I wish I get a heal break onto that monkey, because right now he's just doing too much, I guess. Yep, there's one more heal coming up now. Yeah, my Orion isn't skilled either, as you guys can see. But just one heal break on an just one S1 from my Vigor on an armor broken target, as you guys can see. It hits like a truck, so we're good to go. Gonna S2 one more time, get the speed buff, get the heal break, maybe get another oh, dude, we get really lucky on the stuns onto those Beyond Chulls, because Beyond Chull is definitely like the biggest threat in this, believe it or not. other way of ruining him. I think the only change that I would make is putting them on Destroy or on Nemesis, depending on if you're using them in PvE. Then we got the Fire, what's her face? I think she's like somewhere in the A tier or in the B tier. I think she is very easy to ruin, which A tier, but she only really counters a few units and is very weak turn 1. So it's between those two. Maybe I'm going to keep her in the B tier because she's not as good as some of these, but she's definitely underrated. I think she's C tier because she's hard to ruin. She doesn't do enough, and having like a lot of speed in Siege isn't that great. Like there's very few squishy defenses where she's shining, and at that point you're just like hitting someone down to like 20% HP and then they're just going to stomp you. So not that great. I think Miho might be a little bit better than her because you can run her as like against AoE team comps, but there's not that much AoE in Siege. There's a lot of counters, and just like I think she's not consistent enough. So we're gonna put her into the C tier. I think overall maybe even D tier, depends. Copper, I'd say it's kind of hard to ruin and it's kind of hard to utilize, but I think B tier is the way to go. It's definitely better than all the other ones. So Bulldozer, same as Copper, I'd say. So definitely a build. They're not good for defense at all, but they're kind of like a guaranteed win if you use it against the right team comps. And especially used together with like a defense buffer, it's just almost like a guaranteed win. The Water Frankenstein Tractor, I think it's safe to say like we can give it S tier. It's not like a good unit for defense, but it's so freaking amazing for offense. It just counters like half of the Siege meta, and it's very easy to ruin. So I think all in all, we're gonna give him S tier. Then we got Lulu. I'd say maybe A tier. It's not quite as good as the Frankenstein because there is a bunch of other like supports you can run, but it's getting close to that. So we're gonna keep it in the A tier. Darien, he only really has one room build. That's the thing, you know? Not good for defense, so maybe C tier, but it's pretty good for like offense when someone's like actually trying to cleave you. You can just run Darien with like just double tank, you know? That's all you really need. So it's either C tier or maybe D tier. The thing is, it's also pretty okay for arena defense. It really depends on like your rune quality for him. So if you have like decent runes for him, I think he's C tier. If you don't, you're not gonna really use him in Siege. Then we got Royd. I think it's A tier. It's very amazing for defense though. And it's still very, very good for offense. And the room build for him doesn't really change. It's the same as with Vigor, where you don't really want to put him on Destroy for PvE, but you usually just keep him on Destroy regardless. Second one coming up. I hate fighting kickies, by the way. So we're just gonna try and slow her down as much as possible. That's Triana not using her S2. Did they change her AI or something? What happened right there? That was wonky, but that's okay. So we gotta just keep focusing onto... Yeah, let's try. Maybe we proc. You know what? This is gonna kill. And at that point, it's GG. It's just Royd doing Royd stuff. I just love bruisers. Like, it's very good for Ilunia as well. So I think it's gonna be S tier as well. Megan, like somewhere here. I don't think... Actually, let me rephrase that. Like, hear me out. I think Colleen is a better Megan for most beginners because like you're gonna be able to use her in like Labyrinth and stuff. And Megan, you probably won't. So I think Megan is like down here. And then we got Dark Vagabond. I think it's like kind of here. Because at the end of the day, you have a lot of units, like Onimusha's, for instance, where you get to draft him against it. You have a lot of like light armor breakers, like a Lauren. I think all in all, B tier is the way. Other than that, are there any honorable mentions? I guess like the Fire Fairy might be in like the B tier or something like that. She's kind of a mediocre stripper. That's the issue. But however, there is some team comps where she's like really good in. And I think... Maybe not for defense, but for offense. So I guess it's like C tier, right? Because she doesn't have any place in defense. She's really only good for like offense in like Siege. And she's kind of a downgrade to most strippers. So yeah, I'm just like double and triple checking if there's anything I'm missing, but I don't think I am. So I guess this is the tier list for the 2A's. Again, like I said, I factored in also like the runes that you're gonna have on him for the most part. So again, this is the reason why Raouk is way lower than he could be. But all in all, this is what I have out of my own personal opinion. So while we're at it, let me just show you guys the defenses that I'm running. Now, I do have one defense not quite built yet, because I'm really missing the Violent Runes for it, but this is going to be a defense that I'll be going for. It does need skill ups, so that's another massive issue, because I don't think on this account I'll be able to like really get all of those in within the next year. But we got Ophelia with her S3, and it just buys my Theomars a bunch of time. I already talked about this defense in my last video, and now I'm able to actually start running it. It's going to be very, very nice. I'm going to run a Theomars on Destroy, and both of those on Nemesis, just super tanky, just to make sure that Theomars gets enough uptime. Then, next defense I don't really use too much is my Fran Lauren. Now, I have a second Lauren, and currently she's on Swift. I think I'm going to slow her down a little bit and put her on a Violent set. Maybe like Violent Will. Fran, same. This is my first Fran, but I think I'll switch to like building 2 Frans and then having one on like a R5 build and one on like a very, very fast PvP build for Siege. And I'm just kind of stacking that with Kaki. This is again just like a random defense that we can use in case we ever were to stomp a guild. But the big ones that I'm using are Tessarian, Riley, Camilla. Let me actually show you guys the runes over here, because there you can actually also see. So we got Riley moving first on that one, cleansing everything into Tessarian, who's definitely going to miss the armor break over here. And then Camilla. I think Camilla isn't the best unit for this, let's be honest. I think Mo Long, which I also do own, is probably better just so you have a little bit more kill pressure. And technically a stripper, it's maybe a little bit better. But this is not a good defense. It's just good because I use all of these units in like arena offense and also just in offense in general. So I get to put them on like good runes, and therefore like it's somewhat viable. But this is not like, it doesn't have any kill pressure turn 1. And at that point, you can just do anything to it. Then we have the Khmun, Vigor, and X. So pretty much instead of Louis May, you can run either Usha, the Wind, Azura, just like any sort of wind threat. There's a few options you can run. Maybe a Kinky, maybe the Wind, Onimusha. There's a few options you have. Just any wind threat or any LD threat. Just is fine in here. Triana is another option. Skogul is another option. Pretty much this defense has a bunch of kill pressure. We have 2 units on Destroy, which helps out a bunch. My Khmun, he doesn't hit too hard, but he's on crit damage. So in case we do crit, this is gonna dish out like a unexpected amount, I'd say. And then also we have my Louis May on a control build with Nemesis, just so she gets to actually move in case I don't get Lushened, which this defense definitely will. And then last but not least, we got Carcano, Orion, Usha as defense. Now for that one, I'm running a Swift Orion. I use them in like arena defense sometimes. In general, I think it's a very, very good unit for defense. I'm running a Fatal Carcano for now, but it's kind of tuned to the Usha. So just in case, like Carcano is going to go into the S2 stance and then provide armor break. And then Usha, he has a bunch of like control and also like a lot of burst. Yeah, so I think that's it for today's episode. A little bit more of an advanced look into Siege. I hope you guys enjoyed my tier lists. Let me know what you guys think about them. Now, I'm not quite sure when I'll be able to actually release the arena guide version, because for now I'm literally just bruisering. So if you guys haven't tuned in, like in my last stream we tried doing Rush Hour, which clearly didn't go too well, and I was basically just bruisering for 2 hours. That was kind of painful. I guess for inter-server it doesn't matter that much, because at that point it's all about your rank anyways, which gets you like the placement. So I'll definitely also fight for that one next time it gets released, and maybe we get to make videos on that then. Maybe it's going to be like another 2 weeks or so until that releases, and I'll just use that as an opportunity. For now, let me just give you guys another review on this account. Now, pretty much what I'm doing right now is I'm farming Necro mostly. The main reason for that is because it's the main dungeon that you actually need to improve in both RTA when you want to go turn 2, as well as for like Siege offense. I'm mostly looking at Destroy runes for that one. I'm also still like building a few more 2A's. I think I have like another 13 days for this buff coming up right now, Goddess Ameria. And I think I need to build like maybe 4 more 2A's, even ones that I've discussed in this tier list I don't have on this account just yet. So I'll definitely also need to build those still if I want to like keep this account for a few more months and actually farm contribution in Siege, because that's like what it's all about. That's why I'm building these 2A's. I'm not going to be devil modding most of them still. I'm also not quite sure yet how I want to go about RTA just now. I think since the season ends in like a few days, I'll do like one more final push with the units I have. Yeah, so there's a lot of things to come still, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope it was kind of helpful to some of you. And yeah, see you guys in the next video or stream. Bye!